Good afternoon. My name is Mayank, and I'm going to talk about how I went from being in college like you all, on that side of the stage, to being on this side of the stage over the last 8 years, and how I figured things out on the way, right? Because that's metamorphosis. You build things, you break things, you build things, you build things, right? So, I'm Jain, and our religion says live and let live. But my philosophy in life is eat and let eat. Right? Since when I was a kid, I loved eating, and I was very intrigued about how a packet of Maggi remains good in the shelf for a year. Right? When the people were in the age of just eating Maggi and fibbing about how it gives you bad stools on the next day, I was asking questions to my parents as to I want to see how this factory looks or how this Maggi is packed. And time passed. I grew up, and career choice had to happen. I did the obvious things, engineering or medicine. I loved what sir was speaking about just before I came on. I was very intrigued as to how patients can come in to a hospital with some ailments but go out fit and fine, and I wanted to be a part of that journey. And I obviously wrote AIPMT and CET to get into medicine. But obviously also wrote maths, right? Not just physics, chemistry, biology, but also just appeared for my math exam. And the results came, me being from general merit, couldn't make it into a nice college in Bangalore. And coming from an orthodox Marwari family, they wouldn't let me go outside of Bangalore for 5 years. My granny said, no, you're going to stay in Bangalore. Figure out what you want to do. Things changed, and second passion was always food. And I knew that majority of the things can be solved with food itself. You don't even have to go to a doctor. And I picked chemical engineering because it had a food technology elective. And I ended up being the best outgoing chemical engineer in Bangalore for that particular batch, right? So from studying for medicine to acing chemical engineering, I figured it out. And post that, had to select between a 2 years master's in Europe or in the US and a 1 year master's in the UK. Obviously chose the 1 year master's because I thought I'd come back here and work at a startup because that's also like university. And I finished my master's in food science, and I knew I was on set for a career in the food production or the food startup space, right? So I'm going to talk about how things along the way in your life matter a lot. Every sort of experience matters, right? I have worked as a bartender, right? I have served beverages, I have served food, because that taught me a lot of consumer service. How do you interact with your customers? How do you get cues from them to understand whether or not they like the service, and how do you take that feedback and give them a better service? And also make that extra buck while you're on a tight budget. I've worked as a campus ambassador showing my university off to the parents that came in, and that again taught me how to sell, right? I have worked as a freelance copywriter, right? That's like multiple different things that I've done in my life, and everything culminated to be very, very helpful when I set out to build my startup, right? I've written for multiple blogs, I wrote my own travel blog. Majority of you engineering students, while you're in college, you're in sort of a bubble where you only want to do career-oriented things, and you feel anything out of curriculum may or may not be very, very helpful when you grow up. But I'm here to tell you that take every experience that comes your way, even if it is about doing an Amazon delivery, take that opportunity, make that extra buck, because you'll learn on the way. Post that, I worked as a new product development at a company called Snack. Now Snack is basically Snack Act, right? If you see a picture there, it shows an apple which has been damaged due to hailstorm, right? Now in India, every apple, every banana sells. But in the UK, an apple with holes like this or marks like this would not qualify to be on the supermarket shelf, right? The supermarkets also have an expiry date on fruits and vegetables. Again, that's very taboo for us in the Indian culture. But the supermarkets discard fresh fruit and fresh produce just because it has stayed there for 6 days and nobody's bought it, right? But in India, people buy the ripest of bananas at the blackest of times and still consume it, right? So I worked with this company to develop products out of these apples that did not qualify to make it into the supermarket and make a value-added product. What we made was just purely this and make it into a leather, like how we eat aam papad here in India. We just blended apples and bananas and blueberries, all of these things that were import surplus or damaged in some form, and made jerkies that would sell at 3x the cost of just the fruit, right? And then I understood that, if you cannot sell it this way, you can sell it the other way. And I really developed a passion for doing something in the food waste space. So these are a few snippets of how my journey has been. That was me in uni, fooling around while also doing well in class. When I was in college, I still remember my chemical engineering head of department used to walk into class, and the first thing she'd say is, "Mayank, get out of class or come to the first bench." Because I'd probably sit in the last bench with my friends and they wouldn't make it, but I would. And she wanted me to not impact their academics. And I would happily walk out sometimes, and I'd happily walk to the first bench sometimes. And that was me in the lab when people are working on serious things. But like when you have things figured out, whatever you do, things will work out. That was me with the founder of Snap, again in a banana suit, where we were doing trials at London Underground, giving samples to the people passing in the metro. And that was us with my teammates developing a Swiss roll. So and then comes the experience when I finished college and the bubble bursts, right? You're out in the open and it's a cutthroat world. You got to run fast, right? And I took the first opportunity, again from a Marwadi family. We have a family business, and I helped my dad at an architectural hardware store. You might think chemical engineering, food science, and then architectural hardware. But why did I do that, right? Still figuring out the best job for myself. I thought it would be great to, just do a consumer-facing job and try to sell things. Because in India today, making things is not very difficult, but selling those is the most difficult task, right? Everything revolves around sales. You go to an investor with a product, they'll ask you what is your revenue rate. They will not ask you how different your product is. They might initially, but everything boils down to sales. And you got to really inculcate the art of selling no matter where you are. Even if you're in an IT job, the coding, you need to know, somewhere down the lane, you will sell something in your life. Second, I worked at this company called &Me, which was India's first women's healthcare brand. And this was my first ever paid job where I got a salary. And I was again very clear about what I wanted from the company to my boss. In my first interview, I told him I'm going to work here for 12 months. I'm going to learn everything that it takes to build a startup, and then I'm going to go. And he was also a Bania. He was also from a Marwadi background. He said, "Come, Aja." The first 3 months, I helped him build the product. So because he came from a very good background, like a Stanford MBA, IIT Delhi, ex-paper board, etc., he had funds. He had funds even without a team, even without a product, right? So first, while he was searching for the right team, he hired me. I was his first hire. I developed the products for him in the kitchen, actually mixing flavors and juices and pulps together. We were making a fruit juice drink with Ayurvedic herbs and minerals, focused on women's health care. So basically targeted for PCOS, PMS, the basic major lifestyle issues that women in India have. So first 3 months developed the product. The next 2 months I built the website, I built the social media. The next 3 months I was out at the factory, figuring out how contract manufacturing is done. You cannot afford a factory initially, but you can take your product to a factory and get it made there. So I was stationed in Goa, I was stationed in Hyderabad, in factories, figuring out how we can upscale what we developed in the kitchen. And when the time came, I said, I want to sell now. I want to do 4 or 5 months of sales. I want to be on the field. And I take the bottles, I go 100 kilometers in a day I am from South Bangalore, college in South Bangalore, school in South Bangalore, university in South Bangalore. But during my sales stint in those 3 months, I went to every nook and corner of Bangalore. On my bike, carrying samples, talking to supermarket vendors, telling them, hey, sell this product, right? And figuring out on the way that how you modulate your pitch to different vendors matters a lot, right? Some vendors may be very money oriented. They'll ask you, how much should I make out of this? Some vendors will be very product oriented. Why should I keep your product? How is it very different, right? So all of that taught me how you should change your pitch and learn people skills. And during that time, I realized that selling snacks and selling beverages in India is the most difficult task, right? When you go to a supermarket, the smallest shelf is the beverage shelf. It's probably 2 or 3 fridges that Coca-Cola gives for free to the supermarkets, and in that is crammed all the beverages that every new startup is making. Now the supermarket vendor is going to say, where is the space? Where will I put your product, right? And we have to pay them extra out of our pocket that, hey, I will pay you 5,000 rupees a month plus a discount on my product to just place my product here. And that's obviously not profitable. And again, me being from the Marwari background, I decided beverages and snacks, difficult to sell, not selling. If you have to make a business, it has to be profitable. And these are a few snapshots. Again, delivering products from a truck, doing sampling. I have a set of people who I can just call and talk to about when I feel like quitting, right? Like my wife, my friends, my family, and these guys will, no matter what, give me the only nice feedback that's important, right? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. And you need that sort of close network when you're building a company as an entrepreneur. And what we need to do as you build a company is celebrate those small wins, right? A big win may be very far apart, like probably once a year. But the small wins like, hey, we got an order from Anupam Mittal, let's celebrate that. Get a cake into office, celebrate that, right? Because that brings in those happy vibes. What keeps me inspired is I keep myself updated. Sometimes when you're running a business, all you think about is chewing gum, right? But you also need to know what's happening around you. So I keep myself occupied by reading newsletters and magazines to keep me, very focused about what is happening in the food space. And I also keep myself very fit. I make sure to bring in a workout every single day because you need that, a fit body is equal to a fit mind. I don't know if sir will really attribute to that, but I really believe in, having a very strong work-life balance. I don't believe in the culture where, people show off on an Instagram story saying, hey, I'm still at office working until 2. Burning the midnight fuel is not the thing. Having a work-life balance. Start your day at 10, finish it at 7, but do those 9 hours very productively, right? You don't have to pull your days to 16 hours because then you're going to have bad back issues and hair loss and dark circles, etc. If you're not sleeping properly. So I'm going to leave you with a thought here that that's very close to my heart. That food is something that should be available to everybody, right? But because of the commoditization around food that is happening, there's a lot of mismatch between supply and demand. 1/3 of all the food in the world goes to the bin. But 20% of the total population of the world goes to sleep hungry, right? So what are we doing to save that food waste? And I'm on a mission to actually go out and do something in the food waste space. And I'd love to, collaborate with everybody in the room or whoever is gonna reach out to me later on to build something so that no food goes into the bin and nobody sleeps hungry. That's it for now. Thank you for being a great audience.